See if I can bring this closer to my mouth hole, my face hole. Anyway, I have promised to read this chapter, so that's what I'm going to do. So as I'm doing this, okay, I'm going to try to pay attention to all the things, but part of this is my grounding practice. So I'm sitting in my chair. I have this yellow wingback chair. I love yellow. As you can see, I've got this here this represents the chakras, okay? The chakras are part of our, it's just kind of like an internal roadmap we can use. This is Bo H. Regard. He is a licensed and trained peer support dog. He is my service animal. He is a Dalmatian laying on a leopard print heated blanket. So we all have our tools. Both him and I have been cold since August. We're Canadians, so that's part of it. So settle in with me, like, get into the space that you're in, and sometimes the spaces that we're in aren't comfortable. Sometimes when we are going through some stuff, you want to join me as a guest, Brad? Sure. Let's see if I can do that. Sometimes when we're going through some stuff, it can be really.
Yeah, exactly. Might as well. I was just recording live, right? And I was gonna go downstairs, and I went, you know what? I'm gonna listen to one of my best friends online, and I went, sure. What do I have to waste? I have all day, right?
Right.
It's not wasting listening to your friends.
Oh, now it's saying there's no sound.
But there's no sound for you. That sounds like Brad Clark, Mr. Smiles.
So Brima said that, but hey, that's how. Let me plug this back
in. It's the very encouraging. I like to play with all my mechanics online too, and that's all my tools. It's the very encouraging part of repost, reshare. I thought I was embarrassing myself, right?
We are embarrassing ourselves, but hey.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfectly.
All right, awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So, Brad, I'm going to read chapter 1. Okay. And what I'll do, since you're with me, you're my co-pilot in this, I'll pause every once in a while, and if there's anything you want to reflect on or add to it or relate with, feel free, okay? Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
And then you can practice with me. So part of my practice, I'm sitting cross-legged in one of my favorite chairs. Where are you? Are you comfortable? Can you get 1% more comfortable? I'm on a bed too,
yep, in case I have a seizure, right?
Yeah.
And I always like to be in my bathrobe, as you notice.
That's what I love. I mean, you could start a whole live series about just cool bathrobes. You know what I mean? Like I'm wearing like comfy pajama pants. I'm wearing a yellow shirt.
It's hilarious. I have fun, and like, I don't care, right? You just gotta go, and you just gotta be happy. Yeah, that's what I mean. Just keep giving love, give support.
1,000%. And so now we're using these tools. So this is called the Tibetan Book of the Dead for Beginners. It's a guide to living and dying. The beauty is that everything that's alive has a life cycle. We're in it. We don't have to predict the end of it. But hey, this is just for reference purposes. So let's take a look here. So the first quote, I'll get your opinion on this, Brad, is the past is history. The future is mystery. The present moment is a gift. And that's Lama Lhanang Rinpoche. What do you think of that quote?
that just makes me smile. That it literally inspires me, right? And the
Right.
past is the past. You know what? I don't remember a lot of my past. I've had a lot of
Right.
seizures. I've had a
That's
lot of brain damage. I've been in medically induced comas, right? I've made mistakes. We all have. You
that's
learn.
right. Oh my gosh,
You
if there's nothing else, I've put some cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs mileage on this body.
That's exactly it. I got time to rhyme because I thought it was a crime, but no, it's because I'm getting brain surgery that is taking away my opportunity to maybe finish a sentence, right? So you even said, you know
Maybe.
what, have fun, be yourself,
That's
be a
right.
human being. And
And
that's
that's
exactly, Brian encouraged me, you encouraged me. I'm not
and
on my
I
other phone on my TikTok. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to
yeah.
listen to what you had to say.
Well, and part of it too, right, is you're using the time now to speak because you have the gift of your words and your voice, right? If that goes away for a little bit, we also get to practice how to listen, and there's so many tools, and then there's so many other ways we can communicate. So I love that, brother. So
See, exactly.
the dedication of this book, because I didn't write it, I'm just reading it. Proof I can read, by the way. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
dedication
Same here.
is
Yeah.
may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings rejoice in the well being of others. May all beings live in peace, free from greed and hatred. And this is called the Four Immeasurables. I think that's pretty cool. I can get behind that. And welcome everyone. If you're just joining, I'm going to be reading chapter 1 of this book, the Tibetan Book of the Dead for beginners, for contemplation, for mindfulness cultivation. I'm going to pull an
Share the
oracle
story.
card.
Yeah. Favorite
We're
it. Do
going
whatever
to
we need to be heard.
That's right. And we can use the chat box, we can input what our point of view is or how it resonates in the chat box. We can Brad can kind of maybe help me out and monitor the chat, but feel free. This is like our space and our time, everybody. So
Exactly.
so the book has many chapters. There's like 11 chapters and a couple of appendixes. They can feel overwhelming for me to think of, oh my gosh, because there's a big part of me that wants to read the whole book all at once. But that's why this practice, and you guys are sharing and helping me here, the practice is just to sit and read one chapter. That's all I got to do. So the acknowledgements say, we wish to express our great appreciation to those who helped this book come to fruition. Chondro, Searing, Choden. I'm going to be brutalizing names, by the way. It just is what it
Oh,
is.
I'm bad at that too. Don't you worry. I blame it on the epilepsy, but I don't know. It might just be the brain itself.
But this is how I learned too. I love when people like actually pronounce their names for me, so I can try to
Yes.
say it in the way they mean it.
I don't
Right?
mean to be rude, right?
That's right.
Like exactly. It's how I pronounce it. It's how.
And look at us, dude. We're from small town Ontario. Like we don't have that far-reaching of a repertoire.
No, exactly. No, we don't. And that's why I love to smile and laugh after everything I say. It's a Brad Clark thing, right? It's Mr. Smiles.
And it's why we don't have to be perfect, and we don't we're all learning from each other, right? People screw my name up all the time. I've been Agnes more than I've been Angus, for crying out loud. Like we can't be that precious about it. And Colleen, pronounced Colleen. Yeah, that's so helpful. I love that because while I know the name Colleen, but there are people on the other side of the world who are like, what in the heck is that name? You know what I mean? So anyway, I won't read the rest of the names, but here they are. They're written in time. They're captured in forever. I didn't write the book. I'm just reading it, which is a gift. So here's the introduction.
That's exactly.
All right, brother. So, no one knows when our end will come, whether we die alone or with loved ones, unexpectedly or after a long illness. After a long life or a shorter one, many people appear to be ill prepared for the time of death. As we wrote this book, the COVID-19 pandemic raged around the world. Millions of people have died worldwide, more than 1 million in the United States, where we live. with many people dying alone in hospitals without the comfort of friends, family, and loved ones by their side. And so the COVID-19 pandemic offers a poignant reminder that it doesn't matter what our religion is, or our economic status, or our viewpoints on any matter. In the end, we are all the same. No one wants suffering. We are all born. We will all die. In most contemporary Western cultures, Western culture being North America, this side of the planet, if death is discussed at all, it comes in hushed voices. We shield ourselves and our children.
I'm reading your messages too. Sorry, exactly. I'm listening to your story while reading another story, right?
This is the beauty of it. There's so many ways, right? So
yeah. Hi, Colleen. We're listening. Don't you worry. I'm listening to Angus as well, but reading. So learn on learn, right?
That's right. So in most contemporary Western cultures, if death is discussed at all, it comes in hushed voices. We shield ourselves and our children from any meaningful discussion of the end of life or what happens after. So death is feared, and speaking of it creates discomfort. So it's rarely discussed openly. Western medicine and technology improve our health and can be lifesavers during critical times. Unfortunately, they are sometimes used to push death away at the cost of unnecessary emotional suffering by the patient and family. Any thoughts on that, Brad?
Absolute truth, yet again. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Made a smile come true, right? So
this is it, because it's a human experience we're having, right?
Yes, and that's what I like. Sometimes I don't like to talk. Sometimes I like to listen.
That's right.
Sometimes I like to read. Sometimes, exactly, right? Like I was listening at that time, but I was also hearing. And that's what I mean, smiling the whole time.
And breathing and comfortable. You're sitting in your robe. I love that. I'm sitting in my pajama pants.
Yeah, I didn't go get camera ready for this.
No. Trust, please never, please everybody, just so you know, I've been in community television for like 100 years now. I'm never camera ready.
Yeah, that's exactly. I could have a seizure on camera, right?
That's right.
I don't care. Yeah,
and the goal is to not. And if you
I want to go on camera, right? I want to be on camera, but I only have one opportunity, and I'm thinking it's this, and that's why I'm not going to the hospital for another couple months. That's awesome, right? I don't want to have another seizure for a couple months, but who's to tell? I believe in God. I do. I believe in you. I believe in the world. And that's why I can't believe epilepsy isn't talked about. And exactly, MJ. Angus does have a calming voice. He has a calming attitude, personality.
So do you see how these are wellness tools? So even the sound of my voice, because we know that people who look like me or sound like me or maybe are the same age as me or whatever, like the possibility of very hurtful, harmful things coming out of our faces is so possible, and including mine. Like I have what's called what they've labeled borderline personality disorder. So every single day I hear people really just like blaming every ill will on people with BPD, and it's like, well, but I literally kiss dogs and kitty cats, and I hug people, and I'm a Buddhist, and I study people and culture. How am I this horrible monster? And the truth is that the only horrible thing is when we misuse labels, when we start to attack each other. So
not cool.
So let me go back to it, because again, the goal is to read this chapter. So let's see. So in most contemporary Eastern cultures, so that would be the other side of the planet, senior citizens live within the community and within the home of their family. So as they age, they are respected, supported, and still a part of the community and the family fabric. They live at home and die at home, in the bosom of their family and the community. Western culture today tends to hide our seniors away in nursing homes and senior living centers where we can visit them periodically. They are left to navigate the end of their lives with professional caretakers. Families rush in for the final lap, often feeling fear, stress, great emotion, and little sense of how to accommodate or support their loved one. Regardless of how and where we live our final years, and whether we see death coming or not, it will touch us all. But we don't have to be afraid. Awesome. Oh my gosh, MJ is like, see, I'm on here and I get these compliments in the chat box. So how we die. Oh my gosh, we're uncovering some mysteries here. Again, if people are just joining, it's the Tibetan Book of the Dead by are for beginners, and it's a guide to living and dying. So how we die. The death process.
Exactly.
The death process is different for every one of us. There's no formula for how someone should die or what a good death even means. Each death is unique, and what is appropriate for one person or family may not be for another. The manner in which we die and how those around us deal with it is truly unique. The following stories illustrate how differently we can all experience our death or the death of our loved ones. So there's intensive care. Mom came into the intensive care unit 3 weeks ago in the middle of the night. Who could have predicted or prepared for this? Small and weak, she is aware of her surroundings but unable to speak. She becomes weaker each day. From our conversations with her over the years, we know her desire was to spend her last day at home. Now Mom is surrounded with beeping machines, tubes, and medical personnel. She is hooked up to machines without which she would certainly not live. We all know her last days are numbers. We want to make sure that she dies peacefully without any emotional or physical pain. How can we do that now? And so at home, my husband had been keeping himself alive for years despite his prognosis with medication, meditation, and gentle exercise. Death, once years away, had crept up on us and became only weeks away. We slowed down our daily routines and switched gears to make sure my husband would pass away in peace and quiet, surrounded by loved ones and the music of art he loved so much. One day after we had finished a recitation of his favorite poetry, his eyes closed. We knew that whenever or wherever his spirit or consciousness went, he was happy, content, and with no regrets. These are kind of awesome stories because I recently, my mom passed away in January, and
sorry about that.
Thanks, brother. I was so thankful though because, and which some people thought was weird, because my mom passed peacefully, and she passed in her old age of natural causes, and she passed like living with my aunties, which, like I kind of knew my mom was struggling, right? But I didn't want to make her life about suffering while she was alive. I just wanted to kind of, and at the same time, my relationship with my mom was so odd. So I had to just kind of let go and have faith that, we love each other. And even if, we've experienced some real hardships or complicated times, the truth is we all do. Right? So it's about what we're doing now in the present. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm very lucky that my parents both passed in peaceful ways, because it would have, if I had to see, or any time I have to see people I love suffer, it isn't easy. It has a cost, but there's so many ways we can get through it, right?
Yeah.
Love it. So sudden loss. So our sister always ran around at warp speed in everything she did. From when she was a toddler until her 32nd birthday, she was determined to achieve and do everything she possibly could at breakneck speed, regardless of what was in front of her or what was left in her wake. I feel like I might have been separated from birth. Her car accident was just an extension of how she lived her life. One instant, she was our sister, the live wire, and then she wasn't. So we learned from the police report that she was conscious for a few hours before eventually dying from severe concussion. We never had a chance to say goodbye or tell her how much that we loved her. So these experiences are sobering. And if you haven't been with somebody who is dying, we can assure you that living through these moments is more intense and prolonged than you could ever imagine. This is just reality. We are very fortunate that with the expansion of hospice care, our loved ones can die with love and compassion. We can learn so much from the hospice care angels who care for our loved ones at the end of life. Is it possible that death can be a celebratory and empowering event? Is it possible to enjoy our lives and as a result be prepared for death as it approaches? What if death can truly become part of the cycle of life? The Tibetan Book of Death, the Tibetan Book of the. See, that's how my brain jumps ahead of me, Brad. The Tibetan
It
Book.
gets ahead of you, right? It is your
like
head.
it does. It's like the speed of light. The Tibetan Book of the Dead for beginners.
Oh, sorry. As you're saying all this,
Yeah.
I'm holding this, by the way. Sorry.
What do you got?
You know what? I got to clarify this. It would be my cross.
I love it. You know what I love about the cross is, so when I was talking about the chakras earlier,
Yeah.
the symbol of the cross actually symbolizes our heart chakra. So if we stand with our arms outstretched, we're going east to west or west to east, right? And then if we look at our head and then our feet, it goes north to south. And so the idea is that our heart, right, crosses in the middle of all of
It's very,
those.
very interesting.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Continue. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to go in a couple seconds. I got to go talk to my brother.
Well, and the beauty is that I think this is like recorded or posted or whatever. So if if you're bored later out of your tree or you want to hear the sound of my voice, come back and you'll finish the chapter.
I would love to. Here, you know what exactly? Because I'm gonna go take a couple minute break. I have to
do it.
I have to talk to my brother. I haven't talked to him all day. So
yeah,
I love you.
And I love you, and we love your brother because I bet you that he, the support that he offers you, I bet you that comes from such a good place in him. So.
Oh God, exactly, and that's what I mean. I have to give it back, right? So it's not all about me.
See?
It's about everybody, right?
Exactly. We're all in it, man. I love it.
Yeah, and that's right. Exactly. Like this is gonna get posted. Death is peace. I'm concerned of leaving my children behind. Exactly. You know what? There always will be somebody else to support you, right?
That's right. And
that's why I love you so much, man. I will be back. I literally.
All right. Awesome. See? So that's like Brad is such an amazing example in real time. Like do what you need to do. If it keeps you calm and gentle and at peace to be here, if you're calm in this moment, I'll keep an eye on the chat box, of course. I'm seeing Sonia shares, like sometimes okay, but death gives me anxiety and scares me. That's the truth, Sonia. Death should be scary because life is beautiful, right? This is sort of saying, this is looking at it from like a zoomed out, it can feel general sometimes, but it's basically just looking at the concept that everything has a life cycle. It's just a natural thing. So this is amazing. So let's take a look. So it says the Tibetan Book of the Dead for Beginners shares ancient wisdom on death from the perspective of Tibetan Buddhism made accessible for readers today. So again, these are just the stories written and the experiences shared. So by learning to acknowledge the reality of death, we can live more fully, die with more peace, and support our loved ones in doing the same. In this book, we hope to share this promise with you. So the book again is the Tibetan Book of the Dead for beginners. It's a guide for living and dying. If you were here in the beginning, I acquired this book because I borrowed it from the library, and of course my brain and life challenges means I paid the fine to keep it. And here we are. I'm just learning, and I recently have been able to read more books, which has always been a goal of mine. But through having severe ADHD and PTSD and BPD and LMNOP and all these labels, these are all just experiences. Sometimes I have to use unconventional methods to achieve. And so by reading a chapter with you, this is how I get to achieve. And yeah, check out the library. There's a billion versions of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, but that's part of the practice and part of why we look at stories from all times and all places, and then we see how it applies to us. So this is what we're doing in this moment. So a Tibetan Buddhist view on death. So Buddhism is well equipped to prepare us for death. Buddhists know that how we live is how we will die. So in Tibetan Buddhism, the prospect of death is acknowledged in daily practices, prayers, and teachings that motivate us to live an ethical and happy life. And living with joy and kindness allows us to approach death with confidence and ease. Buddhists aspire for death to be a smooth, natural, and peaceful process as we transition into our next post-life experience. To achieve this takes practice while we are alive. Practice in the form of meditation, contemplation, and skillful action under the guidance of a qualified Buddhist master. So if you study death, it can be a transforming, liberating event. If you don't, it can be very difficult emotionally. So to me, how I would relate that is that, sometimes we see death and of course we see the suffering side of it, especially if there's an injustice, right? We hear in the news, we can read, we can be anywhere where people are sharing information, and we can hear the very tragic, frightening, horrifying part of death, right? For me, I have over 30 years. So back in the 90s when I was living in Owen Sound, Ontario, which is a small town, we were all facing HIV/AIDS. And part of my experience as a teenager is holding the hand of people who were dying because they had been rejected from their families. They were being judged because they had contracted HIV and or AIDS, and just the same that we see today, where people judge people all the time, and everybody wants to blame and shame everybody else. There are people who are experiencing real world trauma and drama that also have to, on top of that, feel all of that judgment and all of that rejection, right? So part of cultivating a comfort with death means that we can be more grounded in our own bodies and then be there with people as they're experiencing their life and their death cycle. And that is where the beauty is. It's not easy, it doesn't go away, but having a more wide spectrum of experiences like this, being able to share in these moments, that's what balances out those challenging moments. So the Dalai Lama's thoughts on death. So His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, frequently addresses death in his teachings. So he writes, as a Buddhist, I view death as a normal process, a reality that I accept will occur as long as I remain in this earthly existence. Knowing that I cannot escape it, I see no point in worrying about it. I tend to think of death as being like changing your clothes when they are old and worn out, rather than as some final end. Yet death is unpredictable. We do not know when or how it will take place, so it is only sensible to take certain precautions before it actually happens. The Dalai Lama prepares himself for the time of death, and as a result, does not worry about it. We concur wholeheartedly with his view that we can prepare for it, and in that preparation, we can learn to accept it as well. And in this book, we will show you how we can work with our state of mind now, how to live a meaningful life, and at the time of death, how to bring about a happy rebirth. Oh my gosh, that sounds pretty awesome. So again, we're getting through. I just want to check in, make sure everybody's okay. Welcome everybody. If you're just joining us, my goal, and I'm just about to start it, is chapter 1 of this wonderful book that I acquired first as a rental or a loaner from my public library here in Ottawa, Canada, but I now am the owner of it through fines because of my brain at the time. Back in April of 2024, I couldn't make all the things work to get the library book back. And I can't always make all the things work to sit and read. So this is a tool that we're doing right in real time, together. And so the invitation is, take a listen to this. After I read the chapter, I'm going to pull out my cards, and it's the Animal Oracle spirit cards. And so I love using both of these things as tools in the present to be more present and to be more in my body and to be more at ease. So I'm really glad that you're all sharing this with me. And so this is not to tell you how to do you or what to believe or anything like this. What we're doing in this virtual space, in this live space, is we're just sharing space. So if anything resonates, throw it in the chat box. If you have a reaction, feel free to have a reaction. If you have questions, I'm just a human. So the best bet is to send me a message or what have you, and I'll do my best, okay? But what I love is we're tapped into a worldwide audience. So if you are in your feelings, if you need a little bit of love and support and care, please let me know. And if you have a bunch of that you can share with others, we can use this time. You can literally be where you are now, and you can think about, how could I project? How could I give off just calmness and peace and hope for that for the whole world, because that's literally what we do through practice. So chapter 1, karma, how we live is how we die. If a person speaks or acts with a pure thought, happiness follows like a shadow that never leaves. And that's a quote from Buddha from the Dharma Pada. Just a warning, folks. It's not to, make anybody feel uncomfortable or to come off as ignorant, but when I am a 49-year-old Caucasian Canadian fella reading books that are inspired by Western culture or other cultures, I might butcher the pronunciation of things. If people need to know the pronunciation, I'm happy to learn it. If people know what it is because of their practice, I'm happy to share that. It's just to acknowledge that none of what I'm doing or saying or hoping for is to leave anybody with any feelings that I'm judging them, or that that it's not important that I'm not pronouncing it correctly. I think that what I love is I always love to know how people pronounce their own names. So if I could tap into these folks, I would definitely tap into them. All right. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee because I love coffee. But I also love to wet the old whistle. So you don't need to be a Buddhist or to believe in karma, also known as the law of cause and effect. How we speak or act at this moment determines our experience in the next moment. How we live today impacts how we live tomorrow, the next day, the next week, month, year, and when you believe in rebirth, in our future lives. If we love unconditionally, love will come to us. When the flowers grow, or when the flower grows, the bees and butterflies all come and enjoy it. When we open our heart, everyone wants to be near. When we close our heart, no one wants to be around us. Karma does not lie, and we can't run away from it. If you really want to know your karma, look at yourself in the mirror. How we are now results from what we have done in our life until now. Our karma in the future is determined by what we are thinking, doing, and saying now. So how karma works. Many books and teachings are devoted to explaining the complex nature of karma. And understanding karma is invaluable in seeing the relationship between the present moment and the end of life. Our actions result in consequences, and when we speak of action, we refer to physical action, speech, or thought. The consequences that we will experience come in all form of creating a habit of our actions. In the future, we will find ourselves in the same kinds of environments where the actions initially occurred. And finally, we will become the recipient of those actions as well. Habitual consequences relate to our mindset and actions. Environmental consequences relate to our surroundings. And personal consequences relate to our circumstances. So here's a few examples. If we're generous with someone, then 3 consequences may follow. 1, we will be generous again in the future, so that's the habitual consequence. Number 2 is we will find ourselves in an environment where people are generous, so environmental consequences. And I would say this chat and this live is that, right? We all are here. We've decided to join, and yet we're all in our personal environments. And then that's number 3, which is we will be the recipient of someone else's generosity in the future, so personal consequences. If right now our colleague or loved one speaks to us in a way that triggers our anger, then these 3 consequences may follow. 1, we'll be angry in a similar situation in the future. So that's what's considered a habitual consequence. 2, we will find ourselves in an environment where those around us are very angry. So that's an emotional consequence. Or 3, we'll find ourselves in a situation where others are angry with us. So that's what's called a personal consequence. Every thought, speech, or action that we take as a reaction to what happens to us or around us creates karma. A consequence. Our intention precedes or triggers our thoughts, speech, or actions. So intention is the basis of karma. Good intention yields good karma, and vice versa. As we change our inner world through thought, speech, and action, the external world around us reflects those changes. Oh man, amazing. Just checking in with folks. So I'm reading from the Tibetan Book of the Dead for Beginners. It's a guide to living and dying. I got it from my public library. I encourage you. Now, I know here in Ottawa, our public library system is all online. You can go on and search by topic and all that stuff. That's how I discovered this book. I own it now because I've paid the fine, so I've paid my I've paid my dues to society for not being able to get the book back on time. And then today my practice is just to get through the first chapter, so I'm glad that you joined. So when we experience karma, so when does one experience the results of one's actions? When does karma come to fruition? We experience the fruits of our actions anytime from the very next moment to years or lifetimes later. Let's use an analogy of planting a vegetable seed in a field. When does it ripen? And how good will it taste? Well, that depends on many variables. So here's just a few. Sun, earth, fertilizer, water, how much sun, how much water, when it was planted, if it was a big seed, if it was a small seed, how many seeds, and what the ground was like, and the season that it was planted. These are but a few of the variables that determine the result of the seed being planted. Karma seeds that are in your mind, likewise, sometimes ripen immediately and sometimes in the future. The future for most Buddhists includes this lifetime as well as future lifetimes. Awesome. And then next I'm going to read how we work with karma, and then that's going to close off the chapter number 1, which is the goal. And then I'll do I'll pull a card and we'll sort of see how that ties in. All right. So how we work with karma from a Tibetan Buddhist perspective, we have the ability to purify our negative karma. In other words, we can work to mitigate the negative consequences of past negative actions. Purification practices are an important focus of chanting and prayers in Tibetan schools of Buddhism. They include meditation and admission or confession of the actions that created the negative karma, remorse, and intention not to commit the actions that caused the negative karma again in the future. Although we can read about those practices or watch videos about them, Tibetan Buddhist purification practices are best learned directly from a qualified teacher. Even if we haven't learned these traditional practices, we can dilute our negative karma just by engaging in more positive actions and fewer actions that create negative karma. As mentioned earlier, what we experience now in life is a result of all of our actions until this moment. And likewise, how we deal with circumstances around us now determines our future. So, in a sense, from this moment on, we all create our own karma. So, with that in mind, many of us use karma to attribute blame to ourselves or others. This can be counterproductive, and in many cases, not true. The best example of this is blaming individuals or groups of people today for what they may or may not have done in a previous lifetime. We can only hold ourselves accountable for actions that we took in this lifetime. Identifying actions that may have been taken by an individual in previous lifetimes is almost impossible to do and can only cause harm. We must look at what we can control, the present and the future. Our future is not predetermined. We determine it. To quote the Buddha from the Dhammapada, you yourselves must strive. The Buddhas only point the way. So we're planting karma seeds in our field of consciousness with every action that we take. And those seeds mature at different rates, with different strengths, and in different ways. Our intention and the strength of it is the basis of karma. Also, we don't have a single independent karma account, like a bank account with a running balance. We've got lots of karma accounts at different stages of development. All we can see at any moment are the seeds we are currently sprouting. As for the other seeds that haven't yet sprouted, good or bad, we can't see those at all. They sprout at different rates and times and interact with each other as well. Once again, it is not just physical actions that create karma. Actions include those of the body, speech, and mind. If our intentions are full of friendliness, that will generate good karma. If our mind's intentions are selfish and full of pride, then that will generate negative karma. We develop habits of body, speech, and mind that we continue to reinforce until we break the habit. Each day that we continue with our habits reinforces the habits the next day. So if we are a generous, kind person today, and we create a habit of these actions, those habits stay with us tomorrow and the next day. That chain reaction continues until the moments we die, and as we shall see, after death as well. So the key to transforming our life is what we do in this moment now. And so that concludes chapter 1. So far what we did was we took a look. This is the Tibetan Book of the Dead for beginners. It's a guide to living and dying. It's by the Venerable Lama Lhanang Rinpoche, who is a teacher of Vajrayana Buddhism, of the Nyingma lineage of Tibetan Buddhism. Born in Tibet, he currently directs the Nyingma Lingpa Center in San Diego and teaches throughout the United States and internationally. And also Mordy Levine, who is the president of the Nyingma Lingpa Center and creator of the Meditation Pro series. And he's taught meditation to more than 250,000 people. So I too So when it talks about sort of learning from a guide, one of the ways in which I'm certified and trained, and why this is in my wheelhouse, is that in 2007, I became a Reiki master. And people have different ideas about what Reiki means, and there's different people who've like learned the skill and then they try to, sell it or do whatever. For me, I learned Reiki through a 3-stage process. The first was learning about it and learning how it shows up in my life. The second stage was practicing it with other people and on other people. And the third was to practice how to pass it along. So when I became a Reiki master, Reiki is from, his name is Dr. Mikao Usui. He was from Japan. He was an academic, and he traveled to India, and he studied all the world cultures and spiritualism, things like this. And then he created his own program so that he could teach his students how to connect their mind and their thoughts and their feelings with their physical bodies, and how to sort of learn that. So so I teach Reiki. I've practiced Reiki. I do treatments on people. I do guided practices, things like this. This is how I cultivate that as a tool. So when we're in a place or a space where we need support or we need a guide, that's kind of how I help. So this fits right into my wheelhouse. If this chapter resonates with you and you go out and you find a version of this and you want to talk about it, I love to share those experiences. If you want to continue reading this along with me in this practice, I'd be happy to do that. Feel free to let me know if you follow me or whatever. We can definitely come back to that. My other goal, and what I'll do is, this live is coming up on 56 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll close it out by pulling a card from the Animal Oracle. I'll read what it says, and then I'll check out with you guys. We'll check in, check out. I'll check out the chat box, and then we'll bid each other adieu, and we'll go on and see who else is sharing inspiration. But what I want to do is I'm going to shuffle these cards. This is a wonderful practice that I use because Collette Baron-Reid, if you go and you Google her or you follow her, she's created so many books and guides, and like, it's so creative. Let's see here. I'm getting a notice. My audio, I think, is having an issue, so I hope it's still working. But I like the improvised factor here. These are all stories and animals. People live through animal inspirations all the time. We can sort of see how animals can influence our lives. Different cultures see it differently. I use this deck as a practice because I live with anxiety and depression, and I'm very sensitive. I'm highly sensitive. When I get insulted, it always hurts. But I cope with it, right? It's how I can get through it. And being a person live on TikTok, I'll tell you. I mean, I don't have to tell all you guys because you know what's out there. So this is my intention on what I put out there. It's my karma. So chapter 1, we covered looking at what karma is like. So that's what I'm going to have inspire these cards. And so as you can see, I've shuffled them. Now, I like to kind of look at them and see, this may sound strange, but I try to just look and see which one kind of jumps out, if there's one that speaks to me. I think it's going to be this one. Okay. And so what is this? Oh my goodness. So this is the Sandpiper Spirit. Card number 51. And it says, Sandpiper Spirit, be playful. So that sandpiper looks pretty hilarious. Looks like it's getting its life. It's got some frilly, I wonder if I can set it there while I read it, maybe. Will that? Improvised. All right, that's not gonna work. Maybe I'll put it here. There. I got a sandpiper on my shoulder. What I'll do is I'll read the so this if this resonates with you and you go and you find an oracle deck or a tarot deck or a card deck, in it's usually a guide about sort of how you can use the cards. One of those is just kind of they call it a one card reading. And it says you kind of ask your question to the universe or whatever as you shuffle, and then you flip the card over. So that's what we did. This is a one card reading. So how I use this is I go, okay, well, I just read a bunch of info about a guide to living and dying. So what is the bigger message in that, or is there a bigger one? So let's see what Sandpiper Spirit says. There's an oracle message, and then there's a protection message. And maybe it's for you, maybe it's for me, maybe it's for someone else. But let's see what we can get from it. Sandpiper Spirit, be playful. So the oracle message says, sandpipers are like cute little clowns poking their beaks into the sand before darting off to chase the waves. The appearance of Sandpiper Spirit is a sign that now is a time to engage your playfulness. Whatever tasks you have before you, perform them with a lightness of being. Explore the familiar, discovering the new in the old. Who knows what treasures await when you let yourself live? Or when you let yourself laugh and have fun. Sandpiper Spirit's happy and curious nature can help you to feel rejuvenated as you remember your ability to run and fly and dance playfully. Oh my gosh, I love that, because again, it's like we can experience more than one emotion at a time. And we can go through more than one thing at a time. And even if and when faced with life or death, we can choose to celebrate or to suffer, right? So I love that. We can dance. We can still love each other. We can still find joy and share that joy, even with people who appear to be suffering, because even as we suffer, there's more to it. There's more to us. We're more than just what we see at any moment. And so the protection message here is, when your heart is heavy and life seems to weigh you down, Sandpiper Spirit message is to lighten your burden by finding joy and humor in the everyday. So become like a playful child, filled with curiosity and wonder. As soon as you will find, or wait, I'm going to try that again. My brain went sideways. Become like a playful child, filled with curiosity and wonder, and soon you will find you feel your own spirit lift. A few seconds or a few minutes or hours of fun-filled delight is exactly what you need now. Enjoy the ridiculousness of life and be willing to jump in. Let your inner goof out to express itself with abandon. That's a great message. The sandpaper fell. But that's kind of like, look, that's kind of the energy this card gives off, right? Like if he's kind of living his, we can look at what the risks are of this little guy. Like maybe he'll be somebody's meal later. Maybe he'll fly into a window. Who knows? We don't want to predict negative futures all the time. We can experience what we experience, especially in how we feel, but we can still choose to bring light and to bring good karma, good peace into the world. My yellow chair, my yellow shirt, these tools, these conversations, and sharing it with everybody here. Brad was on earlier. If you haven't met Brad Clark or you don't know who he is, please check him out. He's getting ready for brain surgery soon, and he's living his life in real time. And there's so many people who are inspired. And this has just been a really nice experience. Oh my gosh, it's Kevin. Do you want to say hey? Do you want to join me? Do I figure out a way to invite you? I haven't seen you. I'm going to see if I can. How can I invite you? Do you want to say hi? Or are you just saying hi in the chat box? That's to Kevin. And to everybody. Everybody is welcome to say hi. I'm really hoping, like, I'm fairly new to using... Oh yeah, just here to lurk. That's perfectly fine. I'm fairly new to using TikTok. If you see my videos and the ones I create every once in a while, you'll see me kind of making fun of myself because I'm turning 50. The secret behind all of it is that I don't feel like I'm turning 50. I always make the joke that as long as we have emotional intelligence, I'll never be a day over 21. But it's just to say, like, I'm being very forgiving of myself because there's so much to learn. And it's easy to get caught up. But the good part of being like 100 years old like me, I'm not 100 yet. I still have a long stretch to go. But I've been on Facebook. I've been on Instagram. I am on X or Twitter as we know it. Like, I have put so many opinions out there. But I do have a consistent practice of being 100% in my authenticity. And oh my gosh, see? And I just got a compliment from Kevin, whom I see as just an incredible inspiration. I connected with Kevin through what he shared, and we have similar friggin' experiences. And so when I reached out to him, it was like, oh my gosh, I see in you what I feel in me. I've been where I think you are, and only to discover that was just my first impression. So while I was on the right path, Kevin's a beautiful example of how, just because you see us in one moment, it doesn't mean that that's who we are completely. And so I really appreciate that. And so when he says he adores me, oh my gosh, that's a compliment. That's a real compliment. And this is why, we can see social media as something that makes people suffer all the time, and people do suffer. Like, you really do see an exaggeration of just about every emotion and feeling. But that's where people like me, when you hear about things like BPD or borderline personality disorder and blah blah blah, all these labels, we've experienced emotions. I've experienced emotions like the average person might see or feel or hear something and have a reaction on a scale of 1 to 10 that's about a 3. Well, my gosh, I feel like a 10, and then I can be a 10 in anger or sadness, and then literally flicker immediately or at the same time feel love, emotion, horniness, happiness, hunger. And so really it's about how do I integrate all of that into one? And that's what I'm here to do. I like to say I'm acronymble because there's acronyms for everything. We're surrounded in a world of acronyms now. If you're familiar with acronyms, that's where they take letters and words. So BPD being borderline personality disorder. Well, who made up borderline personality disorder? It's a collection of research. So who goes into the collection of research? People who have access to medical care, right? Those research papers, when they came up with what they call the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostics Manual or whatever, these are people who were studying years ago, and they would have limited access. And how they study is they ask questions of people who have lived experience. Then they take their academic knowledge and they put it in papers and they do all sorts of things. And then here we have this label of borderline personality disorder. So what I find is when I'm talking to professionals or people who are assessing me, well, they're doing it based on what is, right? And if the existing knowledge about borderline personality disorder comes from a book that is old and outdated, well, then it relies on actually learning more about not only the label, but how it applies or doesn't apply to me. And my borderline personality disorder, it is literally a checklist of life experiences that I have had that are probably more extraordinary than the average bear, right? Does that mean I'm a horrible monster? Does it mean that I lash out and do all sorts of things? Yeah, you're darn tootin'. I'm a non-violent person, but you wouldn't know it from my mouth if I'm angry or I'm sad, right? So even though I'm labeled with BPD and I have it as an experience, it doesn't mean that I have a life sentence. That every single person, regardless of what piece of paper you hold or what job you have, I'm not subjected to everybody's opinion of me. I call my borderline personality disorder my borderline personality disarray, because I can organize my life, I can organize myself and my time, and I can hold in so much. I can actually tolerate a lot more of the BS that we all see. So MJ is sharing that they don't have anger in them anymore. I love that, MJ, because now I would also invite you to kind of redefine what anger looks like or how you process anger, because I think we it's natural that we might all feel it. I certainly get peed off, but I don't project it in the same way I used to. I don't have to. I used to say I wanted to speak to your manager and your manager's manager and your manager's manager. So that's that's how I recognize how I used to process anger. Now I process it by living authentically. And then Kevin shared life is so nuanced, but people don't see that. And you're right. That's what I love is, I learned through coffee, for example. You can see coffee as coffee. If you don't drink coffee, you may not care. You may just be like, oh, I don't like coffee. But a coffee bean is a plant. If you look at the economy behind coffee, when you look at what it does for countries that are otherwise poor, but they have wonderful conditions that can grow coffee, coffee can support people, support whole economies. that's the beauty of it. It's the longer we get to spend with something, the more we can see how really below the surface there's so much more. And Kevin shares that he processes his anger by laughing at the absurdity of most situations now. That's right, Kevin. Honestly, you know the reference, but it's really your boop on the nose and the tap on the head that I saw you reference in one of your videos that really demonstrates that in real time for me, because I'm often faced with conflicting or confrontational energy from other people, and we can choose what we do with that, and it really freaks people out when their intention is to get under our skin and our reaction is to go boop because that's really how we want people to engage us in that way. But we don't have to. And Kevin, I love it because this whole chapter talked about what karma is and how we experience it. So we're chatting about that in real time. And MJ, really just appreciate your energy as well and your input. And honestly, at the end of the day, right, where are we right now? We're sitting in my little live connection that I opened up just over an hour ago. You can see Bo living La Vida on a heated leopard skin blanket, which that brings me joy because, I mean, he's black and white and has spots, and that leopard print, it also has spots, but different spots. Right? That's right. He's living. This is when he gets a break, Kevin. Otherwise, he has to have me smooch him all the time and dance with him and sing with him and do all those things. So I got to do that with you guys. If you missed it, again, I read from this book, Kevin, the Tibetan Book of the Dead for beginners. I got through to chapter 1, so if you watch the replay or whatever, it can sort of cover the topic. It's a pretty small book. I got it from the library. I own it because I couldn't return it on time. And so now I've just started a practice of reading it. So I'll come back and read chapter 2. So if everybody catches up, or if they decide to look into the book or the topic, or go to your library. I mean, libraries are free, and then often you just pay the fine if you're like my brain and you don't always get all the pieces together to be on time. But there's a way. There's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And it was fate. I was meant to have it. You're right. Well, I figure, and here's my shady side, okay? Because again, I'm not an angel all the time. I just play one on the TikTok. But my shady ass, I was thinking, I reached out to the library. I always told them, I said, hey, I live with a thing. I can't always do things on time. And then the local librarians at the time, they were like, yeah, no, you gotta do it this way. And so I was like, okay, well, what's the fine? And I paid a fraction of the price as if I were to buy the book, right? So did I lose out? I had to experience the negative karma from these, judicious, full of control and power librarians to say, no, you need to be punished by paying a fine. Well, yeah, I paid a fine, but now I own this friggin' book. It's a gift, and today I read it. So it took me a long time. I got the book from the library. Here's the first clue. I got it April of 2024. Pick up by April 23rd, 2024, and I'm just getting to read it. So see, it all comes out in the end. Bo is now telling me that I need to be a good dad. Hey, Bubba. You want to go outside? He's like, the sun is shining. I live in center town of Ottawa, so if you have the Google and you find the Parliament Hill, I live several blocks away from there in an area called Centertown. And Bo thinks that it's the set of a Disney film and that he is one of the 101 Dalmatians because he gets called like Pongo and all sorts of things all the time. But he thrives. He loves when people love him. And when they, and he has these techniques. So because he knows he's a service dog, so he's not allowed to just be free and cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but he'll look and he'll try to make eye contact. And if you make eye contact with him, he thinks that's permission, and so he'll engage you. And oh my gosh, he'll scan. He can see people ahead, and he'll scan. And that's actually how he provides service for me with my post-traumatic stress and all of the things, is he really does see people who love dogs and who love people. And as soon as they see his handsome mug, they light up with smiles, which makes me light up. And so him coming over is the signal, hey Bubba, that he wants to go. He loves to do a little walk to the Tim Hortons where they love him. He's the mayor of Tim Hortons on our block. And he's saying it's time to go for a walk and get some of that sun. But he's not in a rush because he's getting cheek scratches. So this is Bo H. Regard. And Kevin, I'm actually really glad to see you, Kevin, not because I think I'm worried about you or whatever, because the last thing I saw was your collection of books and your 8-ball, and I'm like, why is Kevin taking a break? This is where I want to know all the things that he's doing. But hey, if you cast any spells that come my way, let me know, because I love that stuff. So it's really good to see you. And it's good. It's good to take a break. I go through, like, there are times when I'm just on the TikTok and I'm just seeing what other people are doing, and I can feel it in my chest. I actually can feel it. I get farty. So I know it's time to put down the TikTok or to do something completely different, because as soon as stress starts to give you gas, that's like a sign coming from inside the house that you need to take a little break. So and when you are a person like you and me, then because we do put ourselves out there 100% authentically, it does attract really positive people. But just like the law of attraction and just like all of these things, it also attracts people who don't see it for what it really is. They just see it as like an anger box or a chance to, aha, you got an opinion and I have a differing opinion and my opinion's better than yours, and that can be a lot to navigate. So I'm really glad to have you. And yeah, exactly. But you've got a friend here, and I know I've got a friend there, and we're not that far away from each other. We're all Canadian here, or you and I are Canadian, and I am the kind of jerk who will show up in your town or near you, or say, hey, let's meet somewhere and have lunch and enjoy life. So I think I'm trying to think of, look at the shift in the thing. Kevin, have you ever been to the Big Apple Pie Factory on Highway 401? For example? No? So I'm just thinking, if you Google it, I'm trying to get, like, I feel like it might be kind of like halfway between us, but I love it, first of all, and this isn't a promotion of the Big Apple Pie Factory, okay? Number one, pie. Hello. Number two, it's been there forever. There's like a petting zoo. Now they have like food trucks and stuff in the summer. It's right off the Highway 401 in Coburg, I believe it is, Coburg, Ontario. They have a giant apple you can go up inside, and I love that. Meaford, Ontario, was just close to where I grew up. They had an apple that was their information booth, and when I was a kid, I thought that was the Big Apple that everybody was talking about. So when I discovered the apple pie factory, the Big Apple Pie Factory, I was like, hey, this is even bigger apple. But all that to say, it might be a really cool place to just do a day trip and go have some lunch. There's like a petting zoo. There's food trucks. MJ could come. That's awesome. So who knows? Maybe this is a seed based on what I read today. Maybe we're planting a seed where we have like the Big Apple Pie Factory TikTok meetup to enjoy friggin' pie and people and adventure. There's so much, like, we're surrounded, and who doesn't love pie? You can literally see it being made. I think also in there, I'm trying to think. I think they have like a winery part or whatever, but also like candy and fudge and anyway. So yeah, so you want to plan it? Look, so we're in for pie. So let's here's how my almost 50-year-old brain works, right? So when's International Pie Day? Is that March? Pie, you know, the other kind of pie, like the 3.14 yada yada. So March 14th. So let's make our goal to by March 14th, Pie Day, to choose a day to have a pie meetup at the Big Apple Pie Factory in Coburg, Ontario, of all places. Me being from Ottawa, Ontario, born in Owen Sound, Ontario, but definitely loving these connections all across the board. And we'll just invite whoever wants to celebrate pie. What day of the week is the 14th? I'm going to look up we'll do it in real time here. Look up my calendar. Can you meet me halfway? Right on the borderline is where I'm gonna... It's a Saturday! So, Saturday, March 14th is Pie Day. Do you want to... I was thinking if, like, we could do it. It might be warm enough. Do you want to do it? Are we doubling like, are we layering this where on Pie Day we're going to the Pie Factory? Is this what and it's March break? Does this feel like a plan that's coming to, like, what do you think, MJ? This Pie Day at the Pie Factory, we might even be able to reserve, because they actually have probably space for, I'm trying to think just off the top of my head. I think there's probably space in the cafeteria part for like 40 people maybe. And people are always, it's right off the highway, so people are always coming and going. They do like bus tours and stuff, so we could literally do that. The other thing we can keep in mind too is I can look at places nearby. If there's like a community center or something that we could also book, and maybe I could serve coffee and tea over there, because, you know, maybe we could actually bring some pie, and then that could be the next part of it, is we just share our pie and share our coffee and stuff like that. So, all right. Well, this sounds like the beginnings of a... And I just see... So, do you see how easy it is for hairy Yeti looking, wizard people like me, how I can trap you with just the promise of pie and good times? Like, Kevin's gonna be such an awesome guy to go and meet for pie in Coburg. We can invite our friends, other people we know and love. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so cool. Maybe we could even have like I'm thinking Bo and I could dress up like pie. Maybe we could be like, it's on Pie Day and it's in a Big Apple. Maybe we could dress like apple seeds and then see if we can breach the inside of the Big Apple in Coburg. Anyway, all of that is exciting. It's been an hour and a half. Again, my poor dog is campaigning to go, so if I continue to ignore his needs anymore, I'm just proving I'm a horrible father. But this isn't the last of it, and we'll make note, and then what we'll do is MJ, please follow me so I can follow you and anybody else, and then we'll have like a pie day, pie factory meeting of the minds soon, and I'll invite you guys, and we'll do another live little broadcast, and we'll just start to plan. How's that sound? Yes, we got from Kevin. I think all I'll do, I'll know that in the back of my truck I'll put an exercise bike on there or something, because Kevin, if you see him, he's always like doing some presses and burning some calories, so we'll do some calorie burns. We'll bring our elliptical. All right, Bo, what do you think? Do you want the last word? What's the last word? What do you think? He's thinking about it. He's coming up with it. All right. The last word is karma. Good karma. So please, this has been wonderful. I love it. I'm going to keep the good karma flowing and see who we can meet outside. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm going to end it here. Keep in touch. Follow me for more, and let me know where to follow you, because as much as I love the sound of my voice, I really love to connect and hear where people are, where they came from, where they are now, and where they want to be. So I'm just looking forward to it. Love to everybody.